All right, let's welcome back to 10 by 10. So, one thing that I noticed just immediately upon looking at it is that these should have reset. So, if I look at the calendar here, you see it's on the wrong day. So, it's set to the date, and this is moving forward. So, yesterday, this was, I believe, here. Um, I'm not 100% sure because we'll have to come back to this tomorrow because I'm not 100% sure. Um, So I was working on this at like 1 a.m. So it might be that it logged it for today, but this should reset today at the end of the day. But what I found is that when I added something to the calendar right here, it also added it in the distance. Perfect. Exactly what we needed. Um, so now let's work on the habits. I'm pretty sure this is not going to work as I want it to be. But let's see. Focus time. Let's do mental health, deep work. 6 blocks. Let's say it's 10 blocks. No, let's say it's 3 blocks a day. Let's say it's at 11 a.m. Let's say it's daily. Yeah, I wanted to happen because of what's today. So let's change that. So let's do. I can't remove these. Okay. Okay, so we don't know if a habit's gonna work because. Oh wait, hold on. So three. It's 3 p.m. Right? See, focus, time, mental health. Let's do 3 blocks, which will be 30 minutes. And then let's do 3 p.m. Let's do it daily. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're going to go here. We're going to say when I try to create a habit. Okay, so here's my formula. I'm going to actually do a video on this, but my formula is essentially like you go page, you go area or modal, and then you go feature that you want to change. So in this one is like when the user is on the habits page, and see that's a page, and clicks on the hold on, what's in there? The create habit button. That's the feature in the create a new habit modal. The habit does not save at the frequency and timing across the calendar. Habits should override. I also want to say, like, if 2 blocks are occupied, it needs to show up on the calendar as side by side on the same day in the same block, that the user will know what block, how they over scheduled their blocks, and can decide to remove or reduce one. So essentially, here, what I have a sinking suspicion is that they won't allow me to double up the blocks. So I'm going on the calendar page. So I'm going ahead. I'm wondering if that's the reason. So I intentionally chose. Oh, so I intentionally chose a habit that was at 3 p.m. so that it wouldn't have an excuse, but it didn't work. So I'm just like covering my bases and saying like, oh, by the way, if two blocks are occupied, they should show side by side. Also, I think from a UI perspective, that'd be okay to have like if there's a block here, like one of a really long one, and then this was split in half by other blocks or thirds or fourths by other blocks. I think that'd be interesting to see like how people are allocating their time as well. This is purely a nerd project because I'm a time blocker myself. So let's see what they got. Also, we're always keeping track of like how many tokens we're using. 'Cause we need to know as projects get more complex, they will start to like right here. That took up what one? How many tokens is that? 1 point something tokens. It's like 3 million tokens. That should not have happened. I assume it took too many tokens. That's so weird. I wonder why. I wonder if the number was off already. Like maybe I'd used it somewhere else. Overlapping blocks need to be shown side by side. Okay. So you change the day column, change the time block. What's this? Um, should be interesting. One thing I started doing is splitting everything into components. That's so weird. Okay, so we're gonna take one more stab. I want to make sure that I understand like how many items it's triggering because it shouldn't be taking. I think I started out at 31 million. It shouldn't have taken 4.7 million tokens to run what I just ran. That's way too many. And if that's going to be the case, we might have to not shut this one down, but kind of like move to another one that's more commercializable. This is just a play project, and we need to like basically not have any play projects until we can get other things revenue producing so that we can have pay for the tokens for the play products. So we'll see in a second. And also, I need to make sure that, okay, so you do have habits in here. And this is, so I didn't mark it down on my V1. So this should have been marked. So we know that we've already like kind of discussed how these should work. Hmm. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hmm. Okay. All right, let's deploy this. I'm really kind of nervous now if it's going to take 3 million tokens. That's low key insane. I'm going to check the Discord. See if anyone else is. Um, so you won't be able to see this, but I'm looking at the Discord to see if. Okay, let's see what we got. So we just deployed it. How much did it cost to deploy? 100,000. No, I think it was 2.73 before. Okay, let's see what we got. Focus time. I'm not going to make it hard in it. I'm just going to go 3 p.m. Let's do deep work. Let's move that one. Let's do daily. Okay, so something's happening. So I'm going to pull up the developer tools. Um, Sometimes you want to pull up developer tools when it's doing stuff like this, where it's like, I don't even know, you're not even giving me a real error. And then over here, we'll show you where the errors are coming from, hopefully. So I'll give it this. And I'll say this came from the console. What's that thing called? And when I tried to create a habit using the, we figure out what that modal is called? Nah. I want to try to using the create a habit. New habit. Modal on the I'm at 27.3. Let's see where we end up at. I really hope that that's a fluke. So I lose 3 more million tokens. I had to move to a different project. And this is going to be a short video. um, okay, yeah. We don't have super base yet, so you don't have to worry about that. So it's telling me it wants to connect Superbase. I don't want to do that quite yet. It costs money. No, it's not use Superbase. And instead, use a local host. Yeah, we're just going to use local storage for now. Then later on, we'll do Superbase. But like, I'm just doing this as kind of like something that's fun for me. I might like at a later point like tie this into like Google Calendar. But again, we're not there yet. Um, let's see, focus. Let's just run it in preview because it won't. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna see if that. So it didn't work where it shows up on the calendar. So I'm gonna deploy it and see if it shows up on a live feed. Yeah, like this is one of those projects that I would just probably throw up on like Project Hunt. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just trying to like see if people vibe with it. But it has to be like functional. I'm not gonna test overlapping right now. I'll let that just be an error. Is that it? That deep work, right? Mental health. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Let's change how the calendar works. So we're gonna say on the count. Okay, to the 100,000. On the calendar page, when a user hovers over a block that is already been allocated, and the application will show the description and the tag of that block. If the user clicks on an empty block, then they are prompted with the add, what's it called? Add blocks to the calendar modal. I want to do like resizing, but I'll do that later. Where like it's like if I'm on this page, I can just like drag to resize the block, but I don't think that's like necessary right now. I think calendar is just like a visualization of what your calendar is going to look like, so you can just kind of like hover through and see like, oh, I got this meeting there, this meeting there, this meeting there. Because when you're looking at it from the today's blocks, like this, like it's 100 blocks in a day, but like you wouldn't know that, especially when it starts at 6:20 a.m. and it ends at 11. It might be confusing, but what's not confusing is how this works. So, and then activities are pretty cool. I think we're like cooking here. And then we also need to say habits that in the frequency that they are indicated. If a habit is designated as daily, then it needs to show up in the calendar every day at the designated time. If a habit is deleted, then it also that deletes the habit from the calendar. Um, if a habit is designated as weekly, then it shows up on the calendar each 7 days. Um, on the designate or at the designated time. If the habit is designated as monthly, then it should show up on the same date each month on the calendar as well. Okay, so essentially we're just like making sure it understands what I'm saying and just being very clear of exactly how it should work. I should probably, so I'm at 27.2. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm at 26.8. Like that's about 400,000 tokens, if I'm like guessing. I wouldn't be surprised. I just basically had it change a kind of a few things that are pretty core to how the application works. Sometimes when you're trying to measure out like how much room you have to move in Bolt, you can kind of look at the complexity of what you just asked it, and also understand that if you have a lot of components, that is perfect. And I like in every new thing I'll start building, I'm going to start building in components as a part of pages, because I really believe that when you tie everything to a page and not a component, when it rewrites, because it rewrites everything. So when you're saying, hey, change this thing, it's rewriting the whole thing. It might still change something, but you can see in the code that it's actually rewriting the whole page. But if you have components, it only deals with the components within that page. So like if you're like, hey, in quick stats, dashboard, quick stats, I only want this, you can actually tell it, hey, create a quick stats component that will operate like this and then put it on the dashboard. And it'll start like, I won't say being intuitive, but it'll use less tokens over time. Oh, okay, so that one only used a couple 100,000. And I think that's because I started breaking things out into components rather than just putting them in states. And I think more people should use components. Like, like I said, I'm gonna start doing it more intentionally. I was kind of doing it on accident, and then I realized I was working on a different project. Was like, wow, these like just editing a single component is just as good as like my formula. Um, okay, so here's what we're gonna do now. I think we kind of got this like honed in a little bit. So now we're going to build in like a user profile. I think we kind of like are pretty familiar with what's happening here. Yep, it's adding it. Cool. Okay. So now we're gonna go here. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna delete this right now because I don't. If I say login, like I'm not gonna do that because it'll automatically try to pull in Superbase. I'm not ready for that quite yet. So what I'm gonna just say is like you have a button that says "Prove your profile" to open the user profile page, and then I'll work on that UI stuff later. Essentially, I just want this right now because we're about to add in the payments aspect of it. We're about to start adding in the payments aspect of it because I think we got the app down pretty good or pretty well. And we're going to kind of start configuring out how the billing should work and how the UI should work on the billing side of things. Um, And like I said, like in the last video, like when you're building something that's kind of like a one off, you really got to focus on kind of more of the beauty aspect of it. And so I haven't even started touching that part. Like obviously this, like hovering and then when you click it, like depending on what you show it, it'll show a different color. So like if that's meetings and I say therapy, right? It's green. If I go here and say therapy and do physical health, it'll be different. You also see over here, it shows how you're allocating your time. That's like kind of like a beauty aspect of it. Also over here, like having it explain like one block is 10 minutes, 100 blocks a day. So people will kind of hopefully intuit that there's 100 blocks on this page and each block is 10 minutes. Okay. Um, Cooler icon for the view your profile on the menu. I'm just gonna. I'm hoping that it's not gonna come. That's not gonna cost me too much. I just don't like that icon. I think it's kind of lame. Oh wow. What are you doing? Okay, so now I'm about to debate if I only needed it to change the icons. What were you trying to do here? Created a group of hover effect that animates both icons together. Dude, I'm just gonna solve this just because I want to see what icon you came up with. I want to see what icon you used. What is he? That's not cool. Oh, that's cool. Detail statistics. I'm not gonna go there. Um, okay, I know how I'm gonna do this. Okay, on the your profile. I'm gonna change the name of that by the way. On the your profile page, remove account settings and activity overview. Add, also I'm gonna remove the image underneath someone's image. So remove the image next to the name of the user. And then I want to add in a billing section where the user can manage their billing and get and pay for a subscription. Pay for a subscription. There will be 3 options for them to choose from. And then we'll go here. We're not going to put the button links in there quite yet, like this part, because we want to see what they're going to come with from a UI perspective, because we might have to edit that a bit more. Where are we at on time? We at 30 yet? Oh yeah, we're at 30. Okay, cool. So we're just going to wrap this part up, and then we'll move. Okay. All right. Where are we at? Okay. So let's click on it. Okay, I'm gonna change that subscribe now button to I want them all to be different colors. So the background of your profile page is the same background color, same as activities. Can you make it a unique background color? Okay. So we're gonna like at a later point, we're gonna take our time and like go after this. Because like these just need to be different names, subscribe now, your profile, like all that stuff just needs to be different. Or I could do a gradient, but I don't think we're ready for a gradient to be the background of a user profile. All right. The background of your profile page is the same as the dashboard background color. The your profile page needs to be different background than any of the other pages. Let's get real specific. Good night. It's like a freaking intern. Like, sure, thanks for changing it from the background of activities, but like, I clearly don't want it to be the same background color of any other page. It's, it was like, no, I'm good. Man, sometimes this app kills me. But again, I was telling my partner, like, you, I wouldn't know how to write. I wouldn't know how to write all this. I could probably figure it out, but that's like what 142 lines of code. You just click through, you start being like, okay, you start adding it all up. And you're like, it's annoying, but like it saves me so much time and definitely money. Hey, I would have chose red because that's not cool, but like, take it. All right, now we're gonna add the links. Selects a plan. Someone selects a plan and clicks the subscribe. It's gonna bite me in the back because they might hard code that subscribe now. So if I change the text and subscribe now button, it might like break the link, but I'm gonna do it anyways just to make it clean. Takes them to the link for that plan so that they can lead transaction. Okay, here's a pro tip. If you do not want to set up Superbase, you can build in like some type of integrations with like things like Zapier or Google Sheets so that when someone pays for a Stripe link, they automatically get added to a specific Google Sheet in Zapier. Tie that in as basically your back end on like an application. I'm not going to do that. I'll probably just use Superbase because I need to learn it better. But if I was looking for a free option, I'd probably pull up ChatGPT like this and be like, I want to use, I pay for Airtable, but let's say Google Sheets because it's cheaper. Sheets as the back end for an application built on uh, Bolt.new. Obviously wants me to use Superbase, but I would like a cheaper option. Can and I use some kind of way to delineate between paid and free users by just putting them in Google Sheets and then having the application search Google Sheet to know what experience you give the user. Um, I'm not technical this is going to be, so I'm going to go ahead and use use O1? Because my follow up question is going to be like, can I use Airtable? Because I'm assuming it's going to say, no, you can't use Google Sheets as your backend. Oh, well, what's wrong? Uh, wow. I did not realize you could do that. Hmm. Oh, there it is. Superbase to Firebase. Sheets. Okay. Sure. That's good if it would be easier to use Airtable. I've never thought of Google Sheets as that. I've always thought of Airtable as a database. I've never used Airtable for this, and I wonder it would be a lot easier to manipulate Airtable than it would be to manipulate Superbase. Yep, you can call it out right there. Um, can Airtable take custom code to run actions like Superbase as edge functions? Now we're just learning. This is probably a waste of time for you all to watch, but um, that's in JavaScript. Okay. Okay. But it can't run Python. Yeah, serverless. Yeah. Gotten that a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. All right. I'm going to archive that. I don't need it. Just curious. All right. So we ran that. The profile should be linked. So if I go here and click subscribe now, let me deploy it. Or let me, oh yeah, I forgot this is coming. Ooh, I haven't tested this new inspector thing yet. I'm gonna do that on a different video, but I'm kind of excited. I know that they're just following Lovable, but I'm excited. All right, let's go ahead and can I just open that in? Is that possible? Okay, I've never done that before. Okay, let's just see. Select pan, subscribe now, check out 100 bucks. Should open a new tab. That was dumb of me. Which means I need to do a redirect for when someone pays and has a successful payment. Uh, yeah, man. Hey, sometimes this stuff isn't too hard. Hey, this other app that I haven't that I've worked on this channel, but I've been doing a lot of back end coding, which I don't know how to do, by the way. Um, I have been working on that all week till like 1 a.m. or 4 a.m. every morning. I went to 5 a.m. one night, and then every other night it's like 2 a.m. And I just think that's not going to be good content. But for some of this stuff, it's pretty like straightforward. So what I'll do next is I'll probably again keep like testing some of these features out just to make sure, and like editing. I'll do that, like put the finishing touches on it. I'll do that in a video next week. And then I'll run through like setting it up on Product Hunt and put it on Supabase. And it's pretty. This is a pretty simple app. We'll have to come up with like an onboarding plan for how it'll be unique. So maybe we do something like until you pay, you can have all this stuff, but it won't save. So like the only way you can set up a user account is if you pay. I have something like that happening. So you can test out all the features, but it won't save anything. It'll be all hosted in local storage. So we might do that. And then when someone pays, like it'll trigger like Supabase and user authentication, things like that. So it'll save it. Um, so, you know, we'll keep figuring it out. Thank you. This has been a fun one, especially since it didn't have any like crazy like hiccups.